Why are 23% of men choosing to stay single rather than date? It's a question that has sparked countless debates and discussions. The reason is simple. Today, relationships seem more complicated than ever. Unfortunately, modern women are not coping well with this new reality. Let's get right into today's video.
I caught her talking to other men, and she won't get out of my car. Now she's crying. So I caught her talking to other dudes. Oh, wow, that must be sad. God, that must be terrible. Oh, man. What were their names again? I love how you said they were just your friends and you were sending them ass pictures. Get the fuck out of my car.
This is a classic example of emotional blackmail. When you look at it closely, it's clear she's upset because she was caught lying. This kind of reaction just shows a deeper issue with how some women handle relationships. It's no surprise that many men are choosing to stay single. Why should men put up with the stress and deceit when honesty and respect are so rare? More and more men are realizing that dating comes with too many risks and complications. They're seeing that it's often not worth the trouble. We're so glad he didn't fall for her fake tears and tantrums. It's actually quite refreshing to see men who stand firm and refuse to get caught up in these emotional manipulations. They're choosing to protect their own peace of mind rather than deal with the games and dishonesty that can come with dating.
This is a perfect example of why when she says that these dudes are just her friend, she is full of shit. Let me tell you what she means when she says he's just a friend. It means 1, he's the backup plan if something happens. Number 2, it means that they have already hooked up and she's keeping him again on the back burner so her body count doesn't go up if the relationship ends. The other thing that it can mean is that she basically chose you as her second choice. So if that dude becomes available, she's gonna dump your ass. And lastly, what it also means is that they haven't hooked up yet. He still wants to hook up. She's kind of interested in it because she's not really interested in you and you're basically just a placeholder. Stop letting these women tell you that these men are just friends. There is literally no such thing. And for every single person that comes in my comments saying, oh, it's insecurity, it's insecurity. No, not with Snapchat nowadays, not with all these hidden messages that you can hide on Facebook. You need to be cautious, be aware, stop being naive, and not let these women play you. And lastly, let's just remember that she's only crying because she got caught. Not only is that abusive and manipulative, but what it does is it turns the good men bad. So congratulations on making yet another good man turn bad, where women have no accountability for their actions like this. But what it also does is it ruins it for the rest of the women that are out here actually crying and getting their feelings hurt because men can't decipher the difference between being manipulated and real tears. Okay, bye.
I'm really glad to see this perspective coming from a woman. It's essential to understand what women actually mean when they talk about having just friends who are men. Many women claim these male friends are harmless and purely platonic. However, the reality is often different. These so-called friends can sometimes be more than just friends. They might be backup plans, past romantic interests, or people with whom there's lingering potential. Just imagine how a man would feel in a relationship where his partner has multiple men as just friends. They would definitely see these men who are supposedly just friends as a threat to their relationship, even if it's not clear why. They could get frustrated by the lack of clarity and honesty, which is why they're choosing to focus on themselves rather than going through such complicated and often misleading situations. The bottom line is that many men are choosing to step back because they're tired of dealing with these blurred boundaries, because to be honest, it's tiring.
And why would that be?
He asked me what's wrong, and I said, I'm fine. You wanna know what he said?
I would be willing to bet I already know the answer to that question, as most likely does everyone else.
He said, okay, good.
Who here is surprised that he said that?
What do you mean, okay, good? What part of I'm fine means that I'm fine? What's wrong with these people?
He asks how you are, and you say, you're fine. He then takes your word for it, and you begin to throw tantrums. What did you expect? Women need to understand they are adults and must take responsibility for their words. Men are tired of the mixed signals and emotional games. They are seeking honesty and straightforwardness in communication, something that seems increasingly hard to find.
What kind of world do we live in where a normal, regular girl cannot find just a regular guy out here to date?
Now, I don't want to kick somebody when they're down, because I don't know this girl. I don't know the guy that she's talking about. For all we know, this guy was a terrible person. But what I will say is that she goes on this rant about how a normal, regular girl cannot find somebody to date. And with that statement, I gotta say, I highly, highly disagree. We could sit here and argue all day whose lives are harder, male, female, we don't know. There's really no way to prove it. The different obstacles a male has to go through compared to a female, they're just so different that we're never going to be able to come to an agreement on which one has a harder life. What I will say is I'm almost certain that for an average guy, dating for an average guy is way, way harder than for an average girl. I see it and I hear it all the time where a girl will chase an emotionally unavailable man or an obviously immature man and then blame the rest of the dating pool because they pick the worst type of dudes to pursue. The reality is there's plenty of men who would be happy, more than happy, to have an average girl, like 100%. You are this emotionally exhausted after a breakup with a guy, and then you start blaming all guys, and no guy wants this, then trust me, I don't even know how to describe to you what the dating pool is like for men right now. People in general start to do so much stuff that they forget who the average person is. I'll show you who the average guy is. The average guy makes about $36,000 to $50,000 a year, depends on your age, and he's approximately 5'9". I know there is a handful of women that would say they are more than happy to be with a guy like that. But we've all seen these videos of girls going on long rants about how they want a guy who makes this much, is this tall. They have a lot of requirements. I'm not saying they're wrong for having this type of criteria for dating. If you want to be with a guy who's 6 foot or 6'3" and you want to be with a guy who makes $1 million a year, have at it. I support you and I hope you find this individual. All I'm saying is if you are this hysterical at dating for being an average woman, oh my God, if you saw what's out there for the average guy. Because an average woman can easily get an average guy. If not, she could probably even get an above average guy because the supply and demand in the dating market right now is 100% in favor of women. As an average guy, you got to step up your game a little bit because it's not as easy to get somebody who's literally on the same level as you. Because the dating market right now has gone so crazy and so out of whack that as a guy, yeah, it's going to be difficult to literally get somebody who's technically equal to you. I wish you the best of luck in all your dating experiences and just thank God that you're not a guy because you would need some serious therapy with what's out there for us.
Sure, we can argue about whose life is harder, men or women, but it's almost impossible to measure. What's clear is that for many average men, dating is a real challenge. We see it all the time. Women will chase after emotionally unavailable or immature men and then blame all men when things don't work out. This pattern can make it seem like the dating pool is full of problems, when in reality, it's just that some people keep picking the wrong partners. Let's break it down. An average guy today might make around $36,000 to $50,000 a year and be about 5'9" tall. Yet many women set very high standards, like a 6-foot tall guy with a 6-figure salary. If you're struggling to find a partner and complaining that no guy wants you, just imagine how tough it must be for the average guy. The dating market is skewed, and it's much harder for men to find someone on their level. So, if you think it's tough now, be grateful you're not in the average guy's shoes. The dating game is really challenging, and getting through it as a man right now is a whole different ball game.
Okay, so I went on a date last night and let me tell you how it went. So this guy seemed pretty okay. He ticked all the boxes from our conversation online. He's an entrepreneur. He seemed like he knew what he was doing. He was similar age to me, and he booked this really nice Italian restaurant. I got there in time. He was 10 minutes late, and when he got there, he was completely flustered. He was shaking, he was sweating, and he did not look anything like his profile pictures. He looked gaunt. really pale, like he hadn't eaten for weeks. And when I asked him if he was okay, he said he was fine. He was just been working 80 hours a week. I wasn't sure if he was on drugs, but I was like trying to stay cool. I was like, look, maybe I'll learn something from this. You just never know. I wasn't going to leave the date because he did seem like an interesting person anyway. So, and I don't like to be rude. We were talking and he was saying that he's got an 8-year-old son that he hardly sees because he has issues with the mum. Apparently they met each other on Tinder and they slept together. It was a one-night stand and she fell pregnant. Whatever, not my problem. So then I asked him when his last relationship was, and he said last year. And he was like, if you really want to know, she is a high-class escort, and that's how we met. And she was planning to stop being a high-class escort, but she was constantly having to take drugs in the morning to wake up and drugs to go to bed at night, and they just had a toxic relationship. So I was like, okay, right. So, you know, I landed up going into the therapy mode. I was like, look, it's, you know, it's okay. You can make changes in your life. I started recommending different modalities. That's typical me. And I landed up sending him all these links to therapists. And, you know, I did land up feeling disheartened because I was thinking to myself, oh my God, if this is the caliber of men out there at this age, it's very concerning, and it's very sad. But, you know, I guess this is dating life in this day and age. Hopefully it gets better from here.
Men, if you're not ready to bring your A game to the dating scene, it's best to stay off the market. First dates aren't therapy sessions. Men should avoid spilling their entire life story to women who might just pour it out online. Sharing too much too soon can lead to problems, as personal details can be misused or misunderstood. That's not all. It could have her looking down on you so bad. Instead, focus on presenting yourself with confidence and stability. Show up with a strong sense of masculinity and a clear frame. Don't let your vulnerabilities become public fodder. For instance, if you're still sorting out major life issues, don't let a date become an emotional dumping ground. Be composed and bring your best self to the table. Men, dating isn't about bearing your soul right away, but about presenting yourself as someone who is grounded and secure. Until you're ready to do that, it's okay to take a step back and stay away from dates until you find yourself.
Men, there's literally only one thing that women want you to understand, and it's this.
Oh, just one thing? And what is that one thing?
You doing something because we've asked you to do it is not the same thing as just doing the thing.
Do explain, because I think there's going to be a lot of people that are confused by this.
So if you're the kind of guy that says to your wife or girlfriend, hey babe, yeah, just like whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. Like whatever cleaning you need help with, just like tell me what to do. I get where you're going with that. I know what you think it's doing.
Okay, so they're asking for basic communication of that person's wants and needs. What's wrong with that?
But it's not doing the thing that you think it's doing.
Oh, do tell us. What is it doing?
Because that means your partner is still in charge of the mental load of figuring out what needs to be done in the house.
Yet another example of some women who just want men to miraculously know what exactly they want done without actually them articulating it into words that are easily understood.
The solution is quite simple, actually. Just communicate. This is honestly one of the reasons more men are choosing to step back from relationships, and it's important to understand why. One major factor is the traditional expectations and roles within a household. Men and women often have different strengths and responsibilities, and these differences can create friction if not addressed properly. All right, guys, we've come to the end of this video, and if you enjoyed it, do well to click on the like and subscribe buttons. Don't forget to check other videos on our playlist. We've got some amazing contents for you. See you in our next video.